Morning, everybody. Welcome to the December 7th, 2021 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We're glad you're with us today. For those watching on Facebook, we welcome you. Glad you're with us. I'll apologize in advance for our construction noise. Necessary evil, nothing like doing business to the tune of concrete saws. It always makes me just giddy. But anyway, we will forge ahead, and we'll begin as we always do with an invocation. We have with us Pastor Eric Vannon from Grace Point Church. We're glad you're here. If you wouldn't mind stepping to the mic and leading us in prayer, please stand.
Our Father, as we come to you today, before we ask anything, we want to give you praise. We praise you as the God of all wisdom who created the world that we have and live in and everything in it, who created us in your image. Father, we praise you as the God of all foresight who saw that we would sin against you. Father, we praise you as the God of all mercy who would send your Son to die for us, to save us from our sins. Father, we praise you as the God of all power who would raise your Son victoriously from the dead. Father, we praise you as the God of all justice who will come again to judge the living and the dead according to faith in your Son. And Father, as we come today, we just want to thank you. We thank you for this county that you have given us and for the many blessings that you have blessed us with. Father, we thank you for the leadership that you have put before us. We thank you for the love that you have shown us in this county. And Father, as we come today, we ask that you would please show us if there's any sinful way in us, that we might turn from that and turn towards righteousness and truth. Father, as we come together, we ask that you would help this court as they make decisions, that you would help them to make wise decisions, discerning decisions, that you would give them foresight, that you would give them grace and mercy, and that you would bless them, Father, with exactly what they need to steward the blessings you've given us well. Father, we are so grateful that we're able to come to you at any moment to find mercy and to find grace, to find direction. Father, we ask that you would bless this time set before us today, and bless this leadership. In Jesus' name we pray this. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Master Southard. Here. Master Moran.
Here.
Master Putman.
Here.
Master McCollum.
Here.
Master Berry is absent.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you the minutes of the November 23rd, 2021 meeting of Fiscal Court. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other additions, corrections, clarifications? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Once again, we have our Judges Scholar with us today. And in today's meeting, we're honoring Demetrius Pettis from South Middle School, and I'd like Demetrius to meet me right up in front here, and we're going to read a proclamation in your honor.
Okay. Whereas Demetrius Pettis has been chosen by South Middle School to be the recipient of the Judges Scholar Award for exceptional efforts in both academics and school activities. And whereas Demetrius' hard work and dedication making the most of educational experience and developing positive relationships with his teachers and other students will lead to future success. And whereas success is measured in many different ways, whether it be passing a test, scoring the winning point, achieving a particular goal, or taking the necessary steps for overall improvement. And whereas the Henderson County school system could not let Demetrius' efforts go unnoticed, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court supports the school system and acknowledges these accomplishments as being significant because students such as Demetrius will be our future leaders. And now therefore, I, Brad Schneider, County Judge Executive of Henderson, join with the Henderson County Fiscal Court to proclaim today, December 7th, 2021, as Demetrius Pettis Day.
Get in there.
Get in there, yes.
Congratulations, Demetrius. Glad you're with us. And congratulations to his dad, also Demetrius. Glad you're with us today. And Mr. Pettis pulled a quick one on his son. He didn't tell Demetrius why he was here today and he didn't find out until just before he got here, and I think it makes it even better. So
I do too.
excellent. Okay, got an interesting lineup today. We're going to begin with the opening of two bid requests, one for fuel, bid opening, I'm sorry. Oh, we need to bid out both fuel and our annual department material bids. Bill, anything you want to add to any of this information?
Yeah, Judge, a couple things. In light of what happened this past year with us prepping the roads, we are going to bid the asphalt bid in two different ways. One with us preparing the road edges, and we will also price it with the company preparing the road edges so they could do it right before they want to go ahead and pave, since we will see how much the price difference is. That way we have a comparative cost to see what we can compare. We don't want to cut our asphalting, but due to the numerous complaints that we had about pre-prepping the roads and not being able to control when the asphalt's actually laid, we thought it might be good just to see what it costs to go both different ways.
Does that allow other people to bid that don't have the equipment to do the whole road at one time?
Does that allow, Charlie, what?
Does that allow companies that don't have the equipment to pave the entire road in one swipe?
Well,
I like what we got.
Not everybody has that capability.
Oh, they do?
I mean, that depends on their machines. What I'm talking about is how we
I
prepare
understand.
the road edges.
Yeah, right. I understand that, but I
Yeah.
just don't want to. I'm not sure that everybody has that equipment that can do it in that one swipe.
Not
So-
everybody does.
And so if they're bidding something, they're just bidding on the asphalt, and they don't care about the sides or anything else.
Well, we could put that in there if we want to, but I'm not sure we want to restrict ourselves with that. Then you'd kind of be tipping your hand on the bidding, in my respect on that, because we base it on per ton,
Right.
not what size of machine that lays it. Yes, there's definitely, you have to remember that the state of Kentucky allows us to go with lowest or best bid. So we have that capability to say, we'll write in the spec, what is the maximum width that can be paved in one pass. We can write that in there, put that in there, so they can write that down in their bid, that we can do this much width with a machine. And then that gives us something to base upon whether we want to try to go with a price here that machine can only do 16 foot or a company that can do 24 foot.
And I agree with that, but I want to keep the ones that don't have it in the process where they may help
Yeah.
bid on the asphalt, so they keep the
Right.
bid as competitive as we can.
Right, but like I said, lowest or best, so we have that option. I'll make sure that's in there in the spec that we ask, what is the maximum paving width that can be done at the time? Any other questions?
I think we can probably combine this into one vote, giving Bill the right to
Yeah. The second
bid out
one is
both?
the petroleum bid we go out with for every year or two. So, I mean, not any change in that.
Yeah.
We get 3 types of product. We get on-road, off-road, diesel, and gasoline.
So we can combine those into one motion to let Bill go out for bid on these items?
I move to take the bids.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions of Bill? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You want to stay up there? We have the resolution on the BF Overfield bridge replacement. Describe this project a little bit if you don't mind, Bill. You want to describe the project just a little bit?
Yes, we have applied for, under rural secondary, the so-called 80-20 money for bridge replacement. So we are asking for $80,000, which is the max that you can apply for to replace this bridge on BF Overfield. This will eliminate another one of our wooden structure bridges, and this has the same problem as the Cooper Bridge that was closed by the state. I don't know how they missed this one, but this is the same way, where they widened the bridge in the past by putting a part of a power pole into the ground and pouring a concrete cap on it and just extending the width of the bridge and on the head walls. It has scour and erosion. We have attached pictures with it. Obviously, they agreed because they sent down the agreement, so we can eliminate this bridge. And it has weight restriction also, so it's not going to get better. So this was another one we can knock off of our the bridge will be longer, so that we maximize the channel. In the pictures, you can see where we've had rains that topped the bridge. There was debris up in the guttering system to clear debris off the bridge, and underneath in some of the hangars. So.
Any other questions of Bill on that? Or we'll read the resolution. Mr. Clerk?
Unfortunately, it's in Tim's district.
And I'm not saying a word.
Resolution adopting and approving the execution of a rural secondary program agreement between the Fiscal Court and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural and Municipal Aid, and accepting all roads and streets referred to therein as part of the county road system. Be it resolved by the Fiscal Court that the Fiscal Court does hereby certify that all roads and streets referred to in said agreement are county roads as defined in KRS 178.01001B, and the Fiscal Court does hereby ratify and adopt all statements, representations, warranties, covenants, and agreements contained in said agreement, and does hereby accept said agreement, and by such acceptance agrees to all the terms and conditions therein stated. And the County Judge Executive of the county is hereby authorized and directed to sign said agreement as set forth on behalf of the Fiscal Court of Henderson County, and the County Clerk of Henderson County is hereby authorized and directed to certify thereto.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Next in the packet are actually 2 agreements to provide water treatment for both this building and the Judicial Center. This is a long-term arrangement partnership we've had with Aquaphase. Their prices have gone up slightly, and not surprising due to inflation, but both cases, I believe it's now $345 per visit and $322 for their corrosion and Himmer chemicals. No big deal, I don't think. We just got to execute our annual agreement with them and let them continue to treat our water. So,
Judge, I've reviewed the contracts as modified. We requested some modifications from Aquaphase both last year and this year, and they're approved as to form and legality. As long as when they're executed, you initial where those handwritten changes were.
well done. Any questions about those? We had a motion to approve these agreements.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll also now Mac Arnold, Matt Calvert, Tim Skinner, and Donnie Beal. As part of the requirements of KRS, I'm assigning them a term of office. We don't want to have them all rolling off at the same time, so they have staggered terms. This is what I would suggest, and they are all in agreement that this is acceptable. Hugh Stone would be a 1-year appointment. Mac Arnold and Matt Calvert would be 2-year appointments. And Tim Skinner and Donnie Beal would be 3-year appointments, and their terms would begin in January.
Make a motion to approve the names that you've mentioned and also their terms.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The first meeting of the Code Enforcement Board will be at 4 p.m. here in the Fiscal Court Room on January 24th. That is the fourth Monday. That is spelled out in our code. At that point, at that meeting, the board will elect its chairman. I'm hoping that either Mr. Gold or one of his lieutenants can help come brief them a bit on what this really entails, what the vision is for this board. We're going to obviously send them copies of the ordinance to let them review that. We'll have Mr. Tassa there to talk about his process. You're welcome to attend. They obviously act independent of fiscal court, but it's always good, I think, to understand the process. And I don't think at this point there are any pending cases, but you never know by that moment. This board will meet every month unless there is no business and they announce that they are going to cancel a meeting. We have set aside money for the Board of Housing Appeals in the current budget. We will probably have, well, we are going to have to up that amount to both account for added activity by the board as well as paying their secretary, which, as you remember, we've identified as Jessica LaRue, our new occupational tax administrator, who's agreed to do this on the side, and I think that'd be an excellent person to do it, and she's agreed to do it. So we'll be moving some money over there pretty soon to account for that, but I'm looking forward to getting it up and running and seeing how effective it can be. So I'll also say that at this point, this ends the process of changing the Code of Ordinances after our hard work. I don't think there are any more of the adjusted ordinances out there that we're waiting on. So congratulations. We worked hard on that, narrowed down on it, got it done, and I think our Code of Ordinance is now much leaner and cleaner and more relevant, and the clerk will soon be forwarding all these changes to our vendor who administers our codes online, getting us a price as to the cost of the changes, and we'll report that back to the fiscal court. But again, it's nice to have that done, and we will soon in the new year be launching into the review of the administrative code. Hopefully that goes just as smoothly as this did. We'll get that box checked. So thanks again. We have some new hires. Go over here real quick. In my office, I think I have discussed in the past that Paula Wilson, our current finance officer, is going to retire. She's certainly earned every bit of her retirement, and she occupies a challenging office, and we're fortunate to have in the organization already somebody who has a bachelor's degree in business administration, who has worked in the past in the private sector on many of these same skills. Paula was very adamant that she thought Teresa Childers could do this work, and we agreed after talking with Teresa about it. We have offered her the position starting at $52,000 with eligibility for a training incentive to help her get up to speed as quickly as possible over the coming year. I'd like to get a motion to approve Teresa Childers' hiring as our finance officer.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do we post these jobs where other members of our county's workforce could apply for them?
Not unless I think it's necessary.
Wouldn't it be good if other members could have an opportunity? I mean, we've got people in the clerk's office for many years, and we don't.
If I think it's necessary. I think in this case it was great to have, and Paula's announcement of retirement came as a bit of a surprise. So we were crunched for time. And this is a person who was available and had the correct skill set readily available. So,
But we don't want to give anybody else a chance that works for the county to do any of those jobs.
well, and I'm sensitive about hiring away, employees from other departments unless I really, in this case, I talked with Bill beforehand and, got his blessing. I think, as you have mentioned in the past, it's kind of delicate when that sort of thing happens. So
It is.
If I can interject, Judge, basically Teresa was hired in the parks area as the person who has come in to the road department and taken over all payroll for both recycle, parks, and road department, and taken over the PO system. My long-range plan was when Dotsy retires, that Teresa would take over all those duties at this point. And the judge spoke with me. She had the qualifications of doing for my department what Paula does for everything.
Right.
So that's
I'm
what
not
he
questioning
looked at.
her
I'm just-
ability. I just want to see that we have opportunities for advancement in every department.
and again, it was a bit of a short window of opportunity there to try to figure it out. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'm going to abstain.
Any opposed? All right, we have two more hires. Bill, I'll ask you to come up to the mic and talk about Ariel Adams and Lisa Coots.
We have, since the vacancy that was now created by Paula retiring, we have a void to fill there with the Parks Director / person who takes care of the payroll and PO system. So we are offering that position to a young lady that currently works at Carhartt, doing some of the similar duties of the administrative type work. And she will be trained by Teresa, and it's Ariel. Last name, Kurt? You got it?
Adams.
Adams. She will start here right before Christmas. She's given her 2-week notice. The second position is we had one of our truck drivers, Judson Phillips, bought some property down by Land Between the Lakes and has since moved out and left the services of the Henderson County Road Department, has employment down there now. So we had a vacancy there, and we are wanting to hire a Lisa Coots. We interviewed her. She is currently working for KYTC. But she previously worked for the Henderson County School Bus driver for 3 years or so under Ben Payne. She has been a rural route mail carrier for City of Morganfield for several years, and she currently works at KYTC and is giving them notice to come on board with us after the first of the year to fill that void. So, any questions on those?
Were these posted anywhere for anybody to?
We posted the truck driver job out on the website, and we had 3 applications. We contacted all 3 people. We had only 1 person respond to the interview, and that was Ms. Cooch. CDL drivers right now are at a premium. Everybody is giving more incentives and higher pay rate to go work right now. And in fact, this will be the 3rd hire that we have done out of the last 3. And they've all come from KYTC, because the Henderson County Road Department, after you have your period of 90 days of probationary, actually pays a little more than the state. And this has been word of mouth from the first one we hired and the second one, 2 people over there to get them to come and put in applications. The last 2 employees that we have got from the state have been excellent employees, very safe workers, conscientious. And the first one that came over after being there a month complimented the road department. He thought it would be the reverse. He thought it would be going backwards from what the state did and the county did, being a smaller entity. He said he couldn't be more wrong, and he said they couldn't pay him enough to go back. So,
Did you post Ariel's position, the Parks Director?
yes.
And-
We put that, we posted it out here on our little website. We figured that that would be, something. Here again, Charlie, we're looking at a person who has the capabilities, not as much as the Parks Director the last time. No matter who we hired in as Parks Director would have to be trained. We are looking at the skill level of their administrative skills to do the processing of the payroll and of the PO system. They have to have great computer skills and things of that nature.
And does she have a relationship with anybody that's working for the county now?
She's related. She's Teresa's daughter. Yeah. So,
But she won't be supervised by Teresa.
no.
We also posted this in the paper, didn't we?
Do I know?
It was in the newspaper too. I think I seen it in the one ads.
I'm not sure on that. It's on the. It's in the.
I don't think we posted it.
It wasn't? I thought I seen the, not the Parks Director, but the CDL driver. I
CDL
read
driver
something.
was. Yeah, we had it out there. We've had it out. We've had the CDL driver thing out basically all this whole last year, just trying to get.
Okay.
We have a really hard time getting anybody even to come in and put an application in.
I understand.
And like I said, out of the last 2 positions that we filled, when we called the people for the interview, even the ones that had the application, 2 of the other ones are currently working elsewhere here within the county and applied. I'm not going to say whatever work we had, but neither one of them returned the calls to come for the interview. So like I said, a lot of them, and I know personally that from the industry right now that everybody is jumping their pay up or giving them incentives to stay with them. I mean, don't get me wrong, we pay more than the state, but we are not up there where they're paying some of these CDL drivers at all. I mean, it's, the job market right now is just really tough. I can tell you that. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Bill. Need a motion to make those 2 hires in the.
We need to announce the rates of pay on those, please.
Yeah, Ariel Adams will make $40,000 a year. And after a 90-day probation period, she'll be eligible for a rate at $42,000 a year. And then Lisa Coots, truck driver, will start at $17.50 an hour, and after a 90-day probation, be eligible for a rate of $18.50 an hour. Any questions? Your motion to approve those hires in the road department.
So moved.
Motions?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I abstain.
And I'll vote aye on the record there. All right, Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I've got several checks today, and I've got an assistant that's going to help me with that. First is a check for $200.36 and $13.89. Can you give it to that guy right there? Demetrius said he'd never held $3,700, so that's he's taking care of that. Thank you, sir.
very much, Demetrius. I appreciate it.
Next check's for health insurance, $3,323. Aflac, $92.18. Interest in the amount of $125.76 and $22.69, bringing today's total to $3,777.88, and bringing the fiscal year total to date to $103,659.39. Sorry. Thank you again.
Yeah. Need a motion to accept the payments?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Treasurer Ryder?
There are no transfers today. I do have some claims from the general fund to Visa in the amount of $948.02. The majority of this is for judge and staff training travel and is to come from that appropriation line. From the jail fund to Advanced Document Solutions in the amount of $1,102.31. This is for copier charges and is to come from the data processing equipment appropriation line. To Republic Services in the amount of $1,687.14. This is for monthly service and is to come from the contracted service appropriation line. To U.S. Bank, which is the credit card, in the amount of $957. The majority of this is for training, travel expenses, and is to come from that appropriation line. That's all.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions of Treasurer Ryder? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
I don't have any old business. Anybody have any old business?
I don't know when we can either, we talked about the setting up next year, the financial structure on our financial statement, so it's got the totals by department, and you charged me and Brenda with doing that. I don't know who's got the outline or the square footage of the building. Someone does, I'm sure, or I would think they would.
Might check with either Bill or James Bosler to see if they have a record of
Would you
drawings of the
mind
building.
getting that for us?
I'll try.
And then we could meet and try to do that.
I think they've been digitized, too.
What was the question? I couldn't
Do you
hear.
have a architectural drawing of this building to show the square footages? Do you know
Where the what is?
Square footage.
of this
We
building?
have, Brent has one that we can get the square footage of the building, yes.
Okay, if you get that to me, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay.
Is that it?
You need it broken down by areas, though.
Well, if he's got it by areas, I can actually add and subtract. I know that's difficult. but,
Brent, would you mind forwarding to Master McCullum whatever information you've got? Sure.
One of the things is those plans are the original plans, and they don't necessarily reflect the current usage of the building, so you'll have to do some cobbling together.
Okay.
We've run into that in our office
Right.
trying to
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. I think I can work
Thanks.
on that. Okay, thank you.
Is that sufficient?
Yes, I think so.
So what, you're breaking down what the cost of each department is that what you're doing?
Well, like for the heat and air, for,
I got you.
Insurance purposes and those
Right.
kind of things, you need to break it down on what,
Mm-hmm.
how the property is used.
Yep.
Any other old business?
this isn't old business, and I don't know if this is really the time to bring it up, but my understanding is that the state is now making a claim for about $80,000 against the sheriff's office for retirement and health insurance. If you've got somebody that is employed by you working full-time, then the state requires where they're working to pay for their health insurance. And evidently, we may have gone over the hours for some of our employees in the sheriff's office or the bailiff's office, and now they want the money back for what they paid for health insurance and retirement. And that just brings to my point that I've brought up before. I would like us to go and do away with the fee pooling. And we can give the sheriff, I'm not trying to take anything away from the sheriff's office, we can give them the money that we're giving them, okay? And then they can live within their fees. But the way that the system is set up, and we keep doing things backwards, in my opinion, we've had in the past, and we've been a little bit more cognizant of what's going on now than we were in the past courts, where raises were given towards the end of the fiscal year, and then when the fiscal court approves raises, even though fiscal court didn't really realize what they were doing, fiscal court is approving all those raises that have been made. Okay, you're covering the past sins when we do that, and I've tried to watch that, and there is no incentive to hold them, because we, the fiscal court, are now responsible for anything, any oversights, because we took that, when we took their money away from them month to month, we took on the responsibility to cover everything that goes wrong in that office financially. And I would like us to consider, I'd make a motion that we start the process to do a resolution to do away with the fee pooling. And then we can give them money. I'm not trying to hurt the sheriff, I'm not trying to do it, but that leaves the responsibility on them if they overspend, and not on the fiscal court. Right now, there's no incentive for them to do anything. And this just brings to my mind, $80,000 is a lot of money. And if the state's coming back to get it, then somebody's going to watch what happens a little more closely if they're personally responsible for it, rather than us, the fiscal court, being responsible. So that, I would like to make that motion. I don't know if I can get a second or not, but I'm going to make it.
I certainly won't second it.
If we have part-time employees and they worked them too many hours, did they receive the insurance whether they wanted it or not?
They got it from their retirement, and yet they worked full-time. And, I mean, the state did this to me. Whenever I retired, they told me that I had to get my health insurance from the retirement. And I did, and it cost me $800 a month to have my wife's insurance. And then a year before I retired as judge, they said, no, you're employed. You've got to get your retirement from the AOC, the Administrative Office of the Court. I said, fine, I'll do what you can. But basically, I can't tell you how many, probably close to, I did it for 10 years, $800 a month. You're talking a lot of money that they made me pay. Judges' wives are covered under their insurance. So for the last year, I didn't have to pay for my wife's insurance, but I did for almost 9 years, because but they go back and grab it back. They don't give it back to me, but they're trying to come back and claw this back from the county for money. But anyway, to me, it brings up the point that I've been trying to make about how there's not a response. When we took the money away from the sheriff and the clerk by doing the fee pooling, we took on all their responsibilities. If something happens, just like the retirement issue that's come up, and guess it's on us. It's not on. Used to be the sheriff had to they bought their own cars, they managed them, we paid them mileage, and we can do however we want to on that if we want to do it, or we want to buy the cars. I don't care, but I'd like to get us out of the responsibility that we're responsible if something is messed up like that.
So, let me give a little context here. The current question between the state and our bailiffs is, we believe, or at least David Crafton believes, there's been some misunderstanding about reported time. If they work more than a certain amount of hours, they're no longer considered part-time. They are considered full-time by the state, and we must pay their retirement and health insurance. There is a dispute about how the state is recording those hours. I'm waiting for the answer about whether that truly was mistaken from the state. There is no doubt that the sheriff understands that he needs to manage those bailiffs' hours to make sure that they aren't considered full-time. And any of these overages that may or may not be ended up forced to pay by the state will come out of the sheriff's budget. And I know we basically subsidize the sheriff's budget. There is some incentive to take care of this, because any money that he has to pay extra for these costs comes out of some other line item in his budget, or reduces the amount of some line item that it used to pay for it. But there is a dispute about how much, if any, the sheriff might owe. And that's in process right now, being reviewed.
When the county did the fee pooling, we were broke. We could not make payroll. And so they captured the county's, the county clerk's money and the sheriff's office each month in order to make payroll. We are in good financial shape now. We don't need to be doing that. We need to let that be their situation, let them manage their office, and then we get out of their office. And I mean, basically that's what you've wanted to do all along, is let them manage and live within their budget. And that's what we will do. We'll set the budget, and then they can manage it, and it's not our responsibility if they mess up. And I think that's the way to go.
That wouldn't just affect them directly. It would be Renesa's.
Renesa's and the sheriff's office, as those are the two offices.
It would be Renesa.
Renesa
What about
makes,
Steve's office?
no,
It would not be.
he's not a fee office.
Yeah, even though we turn over money, those aren't fees that are paid by the public. You know, those are just reimbursements that we do from other funds or whatever. So under Kentucky law, the fee offices are considered the sheriff and the county clerk, because the clerk, you know, obviously they're taking in fees for the recording of deeds, marriages, mortgages, all of those things, car titling, and the sheriff's department, they have fees for the inspections, for service of process, things like that.
Right.
The clerk's office in general, I think they take in more than they spend, and the sheriff's office, I don't believe does, but Major Willett might have to correct me there if that's the case. But as far as fee-wise,
Yes, they don't bring in enough money.
I will say this is the first that I've heard of the issue with the court security officers, and I think some of that has probably been very complicated for the sheriff's department, because once Judge McCollum retired, that court does not run nearly as quickly as it used to under his judgeship. And while a court is in session, there has to be a bailiff there.
Usually there's two.
Right. For example, we left traffic court at 7:15 last night. They plan on that ending at around 4:30 or 5. So the last few years, there's been a lot more need for that kind of unplanned time there. And I think it's always been a moving target for them over the last few years, when it was a little more predictable under former Judge McCollum. Not that there's anything wrong with the way it's being run now. It's just it's different, and it takes a little longer. And I think that's probably been difficult for the court security staff.
So, what's the motion?
The motion is to start the process for Steve to prepare a resolution to do away with the fee pooling and basically do away with the fee pooling, and not until next fiscal year. Okay, and so it'll start in July, and in our budgeting process, we'll have to determine how much money we're going to allocate to his budget, but that's what it is. And what's in the budget's in the budget, and if they live within it, then that's what they have to do.
I'll remind everybody that we're probably in the most secure financial position the county's ever been.
And that's why this is a good time to do it.
Well, but we have reached that point under the current arrangement. This is not a huge drain on county finances. I would be very concerned about the ability of the sheriff's office to provide the full amount of public safety protection in what will probably end up being a drastically reduced or significantly reduced budget as a result of it.
We're not reducing their budget. We're not
No.
reducing their budget.
I was gonna say, that doesn't mean
That doesn't mean we're reducing their budget a dime. And most counties do it the way I'm talking about doing it. We captured their money. We took it away from them because we were broke and we didn't have any means to do it. I just want to go back to the way it used to be for probably since 1892.
Which we could always subsidize.
Exactly. And you
Well,
can change your mind. You
and
can
we
always
do that
get more
now.
money.
We set their budget and we hold them to it now, and we have held them to it. We approve their budget and we hold them to it. I don't know how this changes it. If we want to, as a court,
It changes our responsibility.
well, we have a responsibility ultimately, I think, to the public safety of the county.
This doesn't have a thing to do with public safety.
Absolutely it does.
Does not.
And
We
I
can
think
still
it
give
does.
them money, Brad, anything we want to give them, we can put it in the budget.
And
It does not have a thing. How does every other county do it? It does not have fee pooling.
how many counties out there?
You're bringing
fee
up an
pool- how
issue
many-
that is not a fact.
Well, how many counties do not fee pool?
Majority don't fee pool.
Are you sure?
I am. And the majority of them do subsidize the sheriff's office.
And in the reduction of things like Kentucky State Police patrols and things like that, do we have a responsibility to assure that the sheriff's department has enough resources? Despite the next sheriff that comes in that may or may not be a good manager of money, manager of personnel, it's an elected position, it's very much a wild card. This still gives us a measure of control over how the department is run, that it's effectively resourced, and answers more to the fiscal court than it might otherwise.
No, they'll listen to the fiscal court more if we're a guarantor of anything they do. I don't want to be the guarantor of anything they do. I want them to come to us and tell us what they need, and then we can make the decision whether to do it or not. But I'm not taking anything away from them. This is not diminishing protection. It's not diminishing anything. It's changing our bottom line responsibility, which we should never have done.
I think I do think it's inappropriate to just throw out a motion like this out of the blue. It's a major decision. It's a significant
We're not
decision.
passing a thing, Brad. I'm just making a motion to do the resolution so we can look at it and look at the issue.
We don't need to have a resolution or a motion to do that. We can look at the issue. We can have a workshop and bring the sheriff's
It'll
department in
never
and
get
ask them-
done. It'll never get done unless we put it on a time frame and have something to make a decision about.
Well,
it. You don't want it. You don't like change. And I'm telling
No.
you, this is the right thing to do. You can do what you want to. I'm telling you, this is the right thing to do and get this off our back. I don't want their responsibility.
I would like to look into it and study it. If we can make a motion of that nature, not to do it, but I would like to look into it because
report
I
back.
do remember when we didn't do the fee pulling, I have family that was in office here. And I know he was held to a tighter budget, or
It was
public
his-
safety was still happened here. But, and it reduces waste because he was responsible for, he had to make it work.
And I'd be happy to put together, like I said, a workshop so that the sheriff's office has time to research this, bring their opinion. Let us hear all the evidence and then go from there. I think that's a more appropriate way to do it.
What it also does, Brad, it will encourage the sheriff's office to get as much money as they can because they can then spend any excess however they want to. It lets them have the control. And that's
Right.
what I like is they have control. Now, I don't know what's happened on the criminal littering statute, but used to be the sheriff's office got 60% of the fines of every case, but I think that's recently been changed where that now goes to the recycling people, I think. I'm not 100% sure. This court, while I was county attorney, passed a resolution because the fiscal court got the other 40%, or whatever the numbers were. The county got a portion, and the sheriff got the portion. We passed a resolution that it would all go to the sheriff because we were trying to encourage the sheriff to buy cameras and things to watch the green boxes and try to stop, but they never bought any cameras. They just did, and we don't have any. I mean, there were 18, in 3 years, there were 18 criminal littering charges, and your recycling person got that from Herbie, and all of them were from where they caught a drug dealer, and the drug dealer threw the stuff down, or druggie threw it down. It wasn't where they got somebody where they're throwing trash out the window, and I've got a thing against littering, but that was a way for the sheriff to raise money. They didn't look at that. They didn't try to get money from that. There's nothing in our budget showing any money coming into the county from Herbie McKee's office for criminal littering, whether it goes to the sheriff or goes to the recycling people. I don't care, but it ought to be some money coming in because there ought to be some charges. But that's just me once again.
Why don't we schedule a workshop for January? I'll set a date. Again, give the sheriff's office time to prepare a little bit, and we'll go from there. Is that acceptable?
Yes, I would like
agree.
to do
I
that.
want that too.
So my motion dies a lack of a second.
We will set up the workshop, and I'll be sending that out shortly, and we'll try to make it time as convenient as we can for everybody. Probably afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock. Thank you. Anybody have anything for good of the county?
On a lighter note, we have finished Phase 3 of the walking trail at the Sandy Lee Watkins Park. It looks real good. It includes the historic bridge that we got from the Hancock County, Davis County line that was built in 1920. Judge, I would like to set up a dedication for the Phase 3 and the new home for the historic bridge that we agreed upon with that. Probably try to do it after the holidays here sometime in January. We can everybody be present at that time. Okay, and we will be applying for our reimbursement through Federal Highways on the walking trail grant that we got sometime later this month once all the checks come through that are being paid this month. So, okay, and also on December 22nd, like to invite all the members of Fiscal Court to come to our annual safety luncheon at the road department. That includes you too, Steve. But I do need a head count of how many people will be in attendance so that we make sure we have a right amount of food.
You're going to send that information to Kurt?
Bill, I've gotten several comments about the park and how well it looks. I've had several people that use it now for walking trails, and I've got nothing but good words on it.
Thank you. We're hoping, we applied for the restrooms through the Land and Water Grant. We're supposed to hear something December this month or January, so
that was their only complaint, and I told them it was in the works.
That was the number one. We put out a thing out there with the 10 things that we were working on trying to do out there. Number one thing was we need to lose the porta potties and get some permanent restrooms. Number 2 was paving. Number 3 was they wanted more walking trail out there. So I mean, it's really moved along. This last several months we've had time to work on it. Last week we set some benches along the new walking trail and everything so that we get preparation for the dedication and the bridges and everything. So I want to thank Fiscal Court for their support with the parks and programs and all the support with especially the asphalt this year. Thank you all very much. We very much needed it.
Well, Bill, what is the status of being able to have campers there? I mean, with the trailers and campers?
We're still waiting on, we have a little hiccup with that is basically because part of the area that we're wanting to put the RV park is still under permit with the coal mine that is bankrupt. And so that kind of puts a little monkey wrench into that status right now. We're hoping to get that all alleviated here within this next year. With all the bond releasing, we've had some surface mine things, some success there in moving forward on some of it, but you know what that's like, Charlie. You have firsthand knowledge dealing with the bankruptcy. We've been through this before.
Oh, my head hurts from
Yes. And,
banging my head against the wall.
It's just one of them things we got to wade through, and hopefully we'll move forward this year with it. So.
And well, I'll tell you, the idea of a RV spot, if that's really what you're referring to, is there's a lot of moving parts to that. There are a lot of questions to answer. It raises a whole new set of concerns, so we've really got to examine that carefully. And it's almost got to be put together with a business plan,
It does.
you know,
It
to
does.
really understand what it's going to take to make it viable, and then what happens with the ongoing maintenance. How do we administer it? There are a whole lot of questions there. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't think it'll happen quickly, but yeah.
Anyway.
I think in the big scheme of things, it can be a moneymaker for the county.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's,
Market like in
yeah.
Union
But
County,
you're
it's,
right, it's going to require personnel and people to watch it and whatnot.
Right.
So, yeah.
So how many
I need
miles
to-
of walking trails is there now?
Do I now?
How many miles of walking trails there now?
We're right at right at about 3 miles. You know, we've been in touch with the people that run the 5K, and you know, they were out there last weekend. Saturday had another run. Their request right now, because they need electricity for their timing.
Yeah.
They would like to see it extended up to the community building, which is not a problem. I just have to lay it out, so that would be phase 4 for their 5K. And then, because right now the only power we have up at the front is at the maintenance building. So we're going to try to make, you know, we have power up the community building, then make it simple, and then we can just run it on down to the big lake, tied into the trail right there.
Right.
So it's very, very viable. So we could get this one closed out on the walking trail, and, you know, we can see about applying for another one. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget, I need the head count,
And what was the date on your?
22nd. That's it, Wednesday.
Is that lunchtime? Lunch?
You eat, but it's 11 a.m. It's not noon, is it?
It'll be, I think we'll be at 11:30.
11:30. Okay. Anybody have anything else for good of the county from our audience? Master. Oh, yeah. Good point. Jessica, would you please stand up? This is Jessica LaRue, our new occupational tax administrator. We hired her a couple meetings ago. Glad you're with us. If you want to come up to the microphone real quick and introduce yourself. She is shadowing Brent Hepner for the rest of this month. She will be a Lone Ranger as of January 1, and we're glad she's with us. You want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Jessica LaRue. I graduated from Henderson County High School in 2014 and then went to Murray State and got my agriculture degree and then decided to go to law school. So I went to law school in Louisville, came back home. I was a child support attorney for the county attorney's office for roughly a year. Then went to Evansville for a brief time and decided, no, Henderson's my home, and came back, and I'm happy to be here and helping the county. So, thank you.
She's gotten off to a flying start, despite Brent Hepner's best efforts to run her off with his.
Is there a way we could help her? Can Steve's office help her with her continuing legal education? Can she still go with your all's things, or how do we work that?
I'm sure we could work that out, yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to go, you may have gone to their conferences before.
Well, thanks to COVID, I wasn't able to.
Oh, okay.
But I did attend the new attorney training that Kentucky laid out, so my CLEs are caught up to date even through this year. So
Okay.
next summer will be when my new CLE would have to start.
Well, it was always nice to go
Sure.
and pick up
Sure.
everything you needed at one time and not have to worry about it. And
Yes.
Of course, now I'm right at the end of the year, I'm scrambling to do hours to keep my stuff done. So.
That would be great. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Yeah.
suggesting that.
Thank you, Jessica. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. Master at Southern.
Just want to say congratulations again, Demetrius.
It's a big deal, man. Get picked out of South Junior High is a lot of people, and you got picked. That says something about you. It really does. And congratulations. And it all's good in District 3.
Master Moran?
Same thing, Demetrius. Congratulations. We're proud of you, and congratulations to you too. It takes a good home and people that care about you for you to succeed. And keep up the good work, please. And as far as I know, all's well in the second.
Master Putman?
Thank you, Judge. Demetrius, congratulations. You know, in this day and time, it's hard to stay on that straight and narrow. You know, there's a lot of ways to get distracted, and obviously you're very focused. And as the other two magistrates have spoken, you know, it's a pretty big deal. But we wish you all the best going forward, and everything's good in the fourth, Judge. Thank you.
Master McCullum?
Demetrius, congratulations to you. I hope that you will consider I hope you'll go to college, okay? Here in Henderson, if you attend class and get A's and B's, you'll get keys money. That's from the lottery, and that money is used for the time you're in college. Henderson also has a what's it called, Steve? The
Colonels to College.
Colonels to College money.
Yeah.
They'll pay for you to go to the community college first 2 years and get that basically free. So there's a lot of opportunities, but you got to plan ahead. Number one, you got to make the grades and you got to attend school. I've told my children and my grandchildren, you got to have goals. Where do you want to be? One of your goals needs to be, where do I want to be when I'm 65 or 70 years old and I can't work anymore, you know? So you've got to set yourself up on how you're going to take care of that. Then you need to how am I going to get there? You know, what am I going to do for a living? How am I going to do it? You could be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, but it takes some planning. I just got lucky. I was not a good planner, but I do now, but I wish I had done a better job of that. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to get a job because I wanted a car. That's how stupid I was. Don't think like that. Get the college education and don't try to be. I got lucky. Sometimes luck doesn't happen. So think about that. And somebody's going to have to replace Mr. Gold someday. And it's a tough job, but it makes you can have a nice life, okay, if you're willing to work. Okay. So everything in the fifth is good. All my roads are paved and newly, freshly done. My ditches are all clean and ready to roll. So I'm in good shape. Thank you all, and Happy New Year's and Christmas and New Year's to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Gold.
Judge, Demetrius, want to echo again, you know, congratulations. It's your day. I mean, it's officially been proclaimed your day. Nobody else in Henderson can say that today, so that's a pretty big deal. And also know, I mean, I've got a son at South. I know how many great kids are there, and for you to be picked out as the number one, way to go. Nate Gold, if you know Nate? Tell him you met me, it'll embarrass him, right? Because dads are embarrassing, right? But you've got somebody raising you right, and that's a good thing. That's clearly the case. So that means a lot. So congratulations again. I know what a big deal that is. I do want to follow up on one thing. I want to make sure, even though he's not here, want to thank Magistrate Berry for making sure we had our float for the parade, and thanks to Magistrate Southard for making sure we had some candy to throw out. This is the first year we haven't been yelled at by people for not having candy, so that was a big deal. But thank you for that. Update on an issue that Magistrate McCollum had brought up to the folks from CAECO. We've got a meeting about making sure that counties are on an equal footing with cities to do the foreclosures, and that is currently Bill Request 999. That's the only way I can remember it. It's pretty easy, 999. But that is moving forward. Shelley Hampton at CAECO is working with Representative Imes and Senator Mills to make that happen. We think that it's got a really good shot. So we're kind of finalizing the draft of that this afternoon. And what I would suggest is the County Attorneys Association has already, as an association, voted to back that. I would ask that the County Judges Association, the magistrates and commissioners, sheriffs, really school boards, everybody should get behind that, because it's something that anybody that has a stake in taxes in particular really should be behind. So that's moving well, and I think that probably within the next few months should be a law, unless it hits a log jam. But a lot of the right folks in Frankfurt are behind it, and I think if our organizations, all the affiliates of CAECO, could get behind it, that would be a real big help. But otherwise, things are going great in the county attorney's office.
I've talked to J.C. Young about it, and probably everybody ought to try to do that. And see, I don't know who we need to talk to at the County Judges Association, but the attorney from Madison County that's head of
Mark Robbins. Yeah.
He's a bird dog. I mean,
he is on it.
He is good.
It.
So
yeah.
we may have a chance to get this thing done. So I would be tickled if we could.
And I'm sure CAECO and KCJE are aware. We'll be having meetings soon, and I don't see a reason why it shouldn't pass. I think it's just one of those things that people aren't aware of, and having it pop up now in very substantive ways, I think it's kind of going to be a light bulb going on over everybody's head, and I assume it'll be changed. But we'll make sure CAECO and KCJEA support it. I'm sure they will. On that note, I'll let everybody know that I'm going on KET on Monday night to, again, talk about city and county issues before the General Assembly session. And hopefully I'm going to be on there with Jim Henderson, who's president of CAECO. J.D. Cheney will be on, a couple other judges, and hopefully help frame the discussion a bit about how General Assembly decisions impact city and counties, and why they need to be cognizant of cities and counties as they go through the General Assembly session, especially as a budget session. So feel free to tune in. That'll be Monday evening. I think it's 7 our time. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, don't forget our roads when you're talking about that.
Absolutely. The employee recognition luncheon is going to be here at 11:30, and Demetrius and his dad are going to join us for that feast. I'm looking forward to it. We welcome you to stay and help recognize our employees. Again, thanks to Keith Berry. The Christmas parade was great. Weather was great. Thanks for everybody who turned out. Always good, I think, to see that we go through the parade together. I know that's a small thing, but a lot of people notice that, and we don't have separate cars or anything like that.
And
really,
Kenny did a great job driving this, too.
Sure did.
None
Kenny
of us
Garrett.
fell down or anything.
Kenny Garrett. Yeah, as tempted as he was to give us a little jolt right at the end, he didn't do it. I will say, Master McCollum, it's not that I don't like change, it's that I don't like to make changes without all the information. And I always think it's good, instead of just coming to court and throwing a resolution down or making a motion to make some drastic changes, it's always good to get all the parties involved, all the stakeholders involved around a table and talk about it. I've seen over and over again in my life where, change for the sake of change sometimes and often backfires without all the information. I always try to make sure that I have all the potential data I might need to help make a decision. So it's not that I don't support it. I don't not support it. Based on the motion that was presented today as kind of a surprise, I didn't want to go down that road yet. I think the idea of collaboration always helps us reach better decisions. And
well, I have trouble getting things on the court's docket or on our mains, and this is sort of the only time I feel that I have to do it, and I wasn't making a motion to make something happen today, but I was making a motion to get it on the discussion, to get it there where we're
Yeah.
So we're there and we're going, so I'm
And,
pleased.
a phone call and ask for a meeting with me and David and you in my office would probably been just as effective, and probably a little less dramatic, and probably a little less consternation.
Maybe
I encourage
so,
you to do it.
but I think that there's going to be some resistance because the responsibility is not on them.
Well,
And-
it shouldn't surprise you. It doesn't mean that we can't still talk about how we're
Well,
going to try to examine the problem.
As it's been brought up, and I was just told this, I don't know how to put this, the fiscal court, the sheriff's budget has ballooned. If you'll go back and look 10 years ago, $1.5 million more dollars, whatever. It used to be the sheriff's office did pay for itself. It was a reality. The sheriff's office, whenever we were doing the 18% raises, and a lot of people in the sheriff's office were mad at me about the 18% raises, and it was not about hiring and giving money to the lower paid people, because I was willing to do that. But the issue was you wanted to give the 18% to everybody down the line. I was not for that. We ended up with 9%, which I was against that. The budget has ballooned extraordinarily, almost more than any other office. The only other office percentage-wise is Steve Gold's, but his budget was so dang low to start with, it didn't have anywhere to go but to go up. But, you know, several of your people talked to me and they were mad at me. We pay our way is what they thought. They thought that they brought in enough money to pay for everything you all do, but you don't. And I've got my job is to maintain the finances for the whole county, not just for the sheriff's office or anything. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm willing to give you the money that's in the budget now. I just don't want us to be the ultimately people that are responsible for paying them. If a mistake's made right now because we take your money away from you monthly, I want to leave you your money, let you operate your office the way you want to operate it, and let us stay out of your business. Let you do it. That's what I want to do. And I think that gives you the ability to do that. It does have some minuses. If you screw up, you got to pay it, not the fiscal court. And so I want to get it off our back.
I understand it. And again, I think tackling a little bit more professional manner, involving, you know, I think we all respect each other here. I absolutely respect Sheriff Crafton. I think he would understand the problem if presented to him in a rational, data-driven way. I think that's the way you go about things. That may not happen as quickly as you might like, but I think it still ends up with better decisions.
Nothing happens as fast as I like.
I'm glad you're admitting that. Let the record show.
I plead.
So my problem is not change. My problem is sometimes how you go about things, Mr. McCullough. How you go about presenting them to both me and the court. And my office is always open. You know my phone number. You know, we send out these minutes, for example, ahead of time, agenda ahead of time to get phone calls. So I encourage you. It helps me to be more supportive of you might want to fully understand what it is you're getting at.
Okay.
And so I'm just saying that I am probably the opposite of being open to change, because I think as many people who've been longtime observers of the court would say that since I was appointed judge and elected, we've made a lot of changes for the better. We do things in a more moral, equitable, fair way. We are much more proficient at minding our money in ways that didn't exist in the past. So I just thought that statement that I don't like change, I may be a little unfair.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Okay. But while we're on that subject.
But I didn't want to do this for debate. This is good to the county, and maybe you and I can talk about it after this is over.
That's over. And okay. But while we're thinking about this, the issues is our census and what we're going to do about our magisterial districts.
That's another topic.
We need to get onto that and get it done. And like I said, things don't happen. Henderson County should never have been gerrymandered the way it was.
Yeah.
And
Again,
that needs to be changed.
Duly noted. We have a schedule that was prescribed by state law. We've met with Renisa and Steve about initial preparations, and I mean we've got a job to do.
The state's trying to push it off until after the newly elected people. I just as soon not do that. I want to get it done.
Well, take it up with Robert Stivers. I'll
give
him your number.
Good luck with that.
So anyway, I know the concern, but there is a prescribed methodology there, and we're going to follow it. So. Demetrius, isn't government awesome? Fantastic. It's wonderful. But I'll tell you this, I don't know how much you watch the news, I don't know how much you follow the national debate on social media, but isn't it great where you can deliberate the issues of the day in a civil, positive manner without calling people names that are too bad? Just kidding, that was a joke. But I think it's great to have a front row seat to this. and I hope you found it interesting. And we're very proud of you. And congratulations to your dad, too. It's not easy being a parent. I know that for a fact. And you must be very, very proud of Demetrius. So, congratulations. It's your day. South Middle School, I'm sure, is very proud of you. I know Principal Rush is very proud of you. And so, at 11:30, we'll be having lunch. You can tool around a little bit out in town if you don't want to sit around, but then come back at 11:30 and join us. You can have my chair to sit in and eat lunch with and watch the proceedings. I'd be happy to have it. Congratulations. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.